Iran that Anthropic is now tied into. It's happening at a time when domestic terror threats have returned to the conversation. I alluded earlier to this Quinnipiac poll. 77% of Americans think there will be a terror attack on American soil because of this conflict, and it's coming at a time when the Department of Homeland Security is closed. I believe we're at the 1 month mark tomorrow. The first paycheck for TSA is being missed today. The timing here, Tyler, is potentially terrible.
And it's 206,000 employees in the Department of Homeland Security. And you're starting to see the calls from Republicans in particular that they have to get a move on when it comes to funding DHS amid, as you're outlining, there is a renewed threat when it comes to Iran. We had President Trump earlier today, one headline crossing the terminal about sleeper cells, though he says the U.S. knows where they all are and there shouldn't be a concern.
Yeah, he was talking to Fox News, I believe, about that. It's the first time we ever heard a number on that. But we thought we'd compare notes with Nathan Dean before we get into the weekend here, just to have a sense of how long maybe this goes. He's, of course, a Bloomberg Intelligence senior U.S. policy analyst. Nathan, it's great to have you back here. We wanted to pull you in on the day that the first full paycheck is being missed to ask whether this new pressure point might make a difference.
So it's not right now. I mean, if you go to social media, you'll see the Senate Republicans and Senate Democrats almost say the same message. They'll retweet a long line at the airport and say that the other party is responsible for this.
Yes, right.
And, we do think that the TSA sick-outs are going to bring a resolution to this, but we're just not in the stage yet of the negotiations. So look, there haven't been really many negotiations whatsoever. Right. And so we think this probably takes another week, if not a little bit longer, to get to some type of resolution. But really, whatever it's not, I mean, whatever that resolution is, essentially we think that when this is done, we should be good through September 30th, and that should be it for the rest of the shutdowns.
Wow.
So that's funding for DHS. We also know that, relatedly, Congress is preparing for a supplemental request from the Pentagon to help sustain what is happening in the Middle East. Do we have any idea how big of a supplemental request this is going to be and how easily or not so easily it would get past Congress?
So Bloomberg News has reported this idea of $50 billion, and we've done some analysis showing what that would potentially look like in terms of munitions. Some people have said north of $100 billion, maybe $150 billion, but we would caution clients to say is that any single time you see a number here, there's always going to be somebody else saying, look, we need to attach something. And we've seen reporting that says that $15 billion worth of farmer aid could be attached to this. So where I'm going with this is that we do think this number is going to be close to $100 billion or just north of $100 billion. But the question is it going to go through reconciliation or is it going to go through normal order? If this bill is very small, say 50 to 100 billion, farm aid plus Iran supplemental, and it goes through normal order, we think this can actually pass. If it goes through reconciliation, every lobbyist in town, every policymaker is going to say, we'll attach something, and next thing you know, blows up to $1 trillion package. And with a margin of vote of 1 in the House of Representatives, we just don't think that would happen.
It's almost like you've seen this happen before. Nathan, I've got to ask you just quickly, we've got a minute left. Next week, SAVE Act. John Thune says, I'm bringing it to the floor. He doesn't have the votes, but we're talking about days upon days of debate.
Probably. I mean, look, Senator Thune has to go through the motions of bringing it to the floor. This is something the Republicans, and especially President Trump, want to have happened. But Senator Thune obviously has said he doesn't have the votes to change the filibuster. And at the end of the day, the SAVE Act would require 60 votes to pass. And we just don't see that happening anytime soon.
All right. You got it straight from Nathan Dean, and that's the authority around here in the D.C. Bureau. Bloomberg Intelligence senior U.S. policy analyst. Nathan, thank you. Try to get a weekend because we're going to pick this up all over again